It's Rob Macfarlane here, and today we're going to be going through 5 tips to up your directing game. Alright, so I've been directing for a long time now, like over 15 years, and during this journey, I think every time I have ever done a film, I have learned something new that I wish I knew before, and I've then gone on to make my next film, which has always been better. But I do think there is something of my journey that I can share with you so you don't have to go through the same mistakes I have in my career. So I'm going to give you 5 of my top tips to raise your game as a director. I think most of us are guilty of this particular error, and that is when we as directors get totally caught up in the choice of equipment. Yes, cameras and lighting and sound equipment is lovely, but you as the director, you need to divest yourself from that. You need to get away from it. But guess what? The type of camera does not tell the story. The type of light you choose does not tell the story. Yes, you do need to make a creative choice about those things, but ultimately the best camera is the one that you have on you. This is why directors like Steven Soderbergh are going out there and they are making feature films with iPhones, with camera phones, because ultimately the type of camera being used just changes the style of the film. It doesn't stop you from telling a story. This one is especially useful for you writer-directors out there, and that is ensuring that your film has a philosophy underneath it. It's the underpinning of your film. We're always told to have a moral or theme to our films on the way in which we see you should live in the world. Now, these things are powerful. Yes, I absolutely agree with you, but a philosophical question that underpins your film can be so incredibly powerful because it enables you to explore it through many different angles and facets through your characters' journeys. So just to help you out here, because I know philosophical questions are kind of really intangible and tricky to come up with, but thankfully there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not probably millions of philosophical questions out there that you can pick from to help really guide and enhance your stories. And so here's a couple that you could think about and might actually apply to your story. Is suffering a necessary part of the human condition? And if so, if someone never suffered, what would they be like? What is the best way for someone to attain happiness? Is intelligence or wisdom more useful? What is the most important goal a person should have? Does absolute power corrupt? Absolutely. Do you see how you start to immediately remember films which actually discussed these philosophies before? They don't necessarily have to have a definite answer, but they can have a version of an answer for the audience to discuss after the film. By underpinning your story through a philosophy, you can really enrich and bring your film to life, raise it to another level. Now this one is trickier than it sounds, and this is result directing, especially for the actors. So you're filming your scene and the actor maybe isn't finding the right place for the character, and you need to get them there as quickly as possible. And quite often what happens is we as directors end up resorting to result directing. Now what does that sound like? That means, hey, could you be maybe a little more angry that they did this? Or maybe, you're at kind of a 3 right now, maybe turn it up to like a 10. See how far you can go, really push it. Well, what that means is now the actor is trying to act. Instead, think about a way to motivate the character to be more angry, to give more energy, or to be more reserved, or be more gentle in the scene. Now, these motivations require you to take an extra moment before you direct just to formalize exactly what you want this character to be motivated by. There are obviously a million ways to do that, but just to give you a couple of examples, you want the character to be more reserved or cold with the other characters in the scene. You could tell them, so for this scene, I want you to be thinking about a secret. This secret no one has ever heard, and you cannot tell anyone in the room. That is at the back of your mind. You see how that motivation can change the way in which the actor is thinking? If you tell the actor to try and convince the other actor that they're right, obviously they're not going to change the dialogue, but this totally changes the way they approach the dialogue, and that is how you can motivate your actors to do something. Do you see how each of these directions, they've not used an emotion? I've not told them how to feel. Instead, I've left that up to what their body does naturally. If the other characters and actors react in a way that makes them frustrated, well, that's fantastic. The character has become frustrated, or the character has become impassioned or emboldened by these things. And this is where not having result direction, either in your script or in the way you direct the actors, can enable true, inspired, incredibly unique moments in your films. Finally, this one's going to be really tricky because I think we're all really guilty of this. When we see something cool, we're like, yes, it's got to be in the film, it's so cool. But what I want you to do is next time you see something amazing and your instinct is to throw it in the film because it looks incredible, ask yourself, is this cool thing at the service of my story? Because if it's not, then probably what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a shot or a whole element that you've spent a lot of time on hitting the cutting room floor. And we don't need that. We don't need wasted time on set. We need to take our time and make sure that all of that is spent on ultimately all the things that are going to end up telling the story. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found today's content useful, click the subscribe and the bell icon. I'll wait for you. Thank you. Smash the like button and find some links below to up your game on your next project.